Hey, everybody. We are live on a Monday for our Monday night chat with our buddy Jose Partida. But before we start, big news, new sponsor to the show, somebody I'm really excited to bring on. Look, there's a lot of CBD companies out there, and I get it. But the new one that I want to tell you about, the one that I use, it's Alamo Remedy. Alamo Remedy CBD for Texans, by Texans, and built right here in Texas. Alamo Remedy has one mission. Your wellness shouldn't break the bank, and that's why they price all of their products at just $17.99. $17.99. That's it. Everybody can afford them. You can get the best quality CBD products at $17.99. Let me say that again. $17.99 for all of their product lines. I'm talking about the capsules. I'm talking about the tincture. All right. The lotion, which is deliciously scented as cucumber melon. Because when you smell it, Jose, you're going to want to eat it. But don't eat it. Okay. It's not for eating. But then you can eat their delicious gummies. These are my favorite. I love taking these in the morning, in my morning routine. All their products, $17.99, 250 milligrams of CBD. So with the gummies, with the capsules, they're perfectly dosed. So if you're new to it, I highly recommend the gummies because you'll get the perfect dosage. 10 milligrams of CBD per, it's 8.3 per gummy. So it's perfectly dosed out. You can try and see what is your perfect level and what works for you. All of their products are third-party lab tested and it's THC free. So you can take them without worrying about any failed drug tests. All the products contain zero toxins, zero animal testing, zero contaminants, and zero BS. The website is Alamo Remedy, Alamo, REMEDY.com. Use promo code UNICORN, and you're going to get another 10% off on all your products. Plus, you'll get free shipping on a total of $49 or more. And trust me, you're going to buy everything because they are affordably priced. That was one of my big things when I was doing CBD reads for other companies. I always told people, wait until you get a discount code because everything is priced so high. Not anymore. Alamo Remedy is making that easier to purchase, making it easier for you to get in and try CBD. Again, AlamoRemedy.com, AlamoRemedy.com. You'll see it scroll on the bottom of this or in the bio of this episode. Thank you to Alamo Remedy for joining into the Raheel Show podcast. Jose, I'm going to drop off your stuff tomorrow. I'm going to give you the tincture.
Ooh.
Okay. So you got to try some of that out. I can't wait, man.
You're going to drive to Northwest Houston for me?
Yeah. Wait, you're not at the station tomorrow?
I'm off all week
Oh, what happened?
because of the thing I told you about.
Oh, that's right. That's
I'm
right.
off all week.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. I'm not driving all the way there. There's no
You
chance
can leave it at the door.
No, there's no chance I'm coming. But did Cody's shirt come in, by the way?
So for the record, Cody, I bought a Spicy Boy shirt because I support my own brand. But I was also told I would get a free shirt. The free shirt never arrived, but Cody's free shirt arrived.
Yours still hasn't come in yet?
No.
Okay, I got to check. I'll check up on it. That's weird. I got you one. That's why I was confused. Hey, today, how about this? We've got our buddy Jermaine Every, who looks so confused to be on here, but he is here. Jermaine is a dear friend of mine and yours. Jermaine, longtime friend of the show. Jermaine, thank you for joining us. I wanted to bring you on tonight. I told you I'd bring you on, and I always get backtracked to so many episodes and whatnot. So I was like, Jermaine, Monday night, we got to make this bad boy. We got to make this episode happen. Jermaine, tell everyone about yourself a little bit because we've picked up so many new people to the show. They might not be familiar with you.
Well, I've been on Raheel since 2009 when I started interning at 1560, and he would always help me out as far as the video production stuff that I was working on is concerned. It's been a huge impact among many others in my career pursuing this in media and whatnot. Then when Raheel came back to 97.5 after a little layoff or hesitation, whatever you want to call it, he was also someone who helped me kind of craft things as far as my writing is concerned with Sports Map and how to present myself in the videos that I used to do for Sports Map as well. So Raheel's been a big part of that. And Jose has actually produced several shows that I've filled in on and done and podcasts and whatnot. So both of these guys have been pretty helpful and influential in my career.
There you go. And Jermaine is awesome. You got to follow him on Twitter, _Jermaine. I also tagged him in the bio of this episode for those of you that are listening on the audio side, and so many of you are. Man, I truly appreciate it. The Justin Reed episode, guys, got picked up on Sports Illustrated. It got picked up by, I believe, NFL.com picked up some of it. It was all over, and it was cool to see that, and the hits went up, man. So pretty cool get. David Nuno, of course, part of that one, and appreciate Justin Reed joining us. A lot of interesting things on that one. He did admit, by the way, that the draft, why he fell, he said in his opinion, it was because he was so socially conscious, and he was linked to his brother, who Eric Reed was the one kneeling with Colin Kaepernick, respectfully kneeling, by the way, because a Green Beret told him, Nate Boyer, who was also on the show. I mean, we all knew it, right? We all knew it why Justin Reed, who's a Stanford guy, who's a fantastic player, fell to the third round. Like, he was a late first, early second talent.
Yeah, you don't fall in the draft when you run, 4.4 speed. He's got good size, pretty good tackling form, decent coverage skills, not great, but decent. When you just have the pedigree, the intelligence level to be a Stanford grad, Stanford, just to get into Stanford, for that matter, and play football at a high level at which he did, to fall to the third round, it has to be some other factors in there, and it had to have been being linked to his brother and being socially conscious, like you said. There couldn't have been anything else. Like, I couldn't see anything else that could have led me to believe that he didn't have a crazy injury history. He didn't get popped for any drug tests or was known to be a partier or character concerns or anything like that outside of his social consciousness.
And to think that was 2 years after the Colin Kaepernick original protest, wasn't it?
Right.
He was out part of the 2018 draft, and
to
think it clicked 4 years later, not 2 years later. It didn't make sense to anyone why they were why people were protesting. And hell, it benefited the Texans. They got an outstanding player. So.
And today, Roger Goodell comes out and says that he's going to encourage teams to sign Colin Kaepernick. That is incredible how far the opinion has changed. And you see the NFL, look, it's all a business. Everything is a business, and they might be doing it with the best intentions. That's fine. Okay? If you were doing it with the best of intentions, you would have said something in 2016, 2017. Not now, when the public opinion has shifted so much that now Roger Goodell's like, look, guys, hey, I think teams should look at Colin Kaepernick and give him a shot, and they've got my ringing endorsement because they see the public opinion has changed so much. I mean, how about in one day, Mike Gundy wears a OAN shirt, his player criticizes him on Twitter, and now we've got a public apology from the player, not Mike Gundy, which is interesting. We'll get into that. But it's just so quick that the public opinion is changing on Black Lives Matter. And again, it goes back to it's a human issue. It's not a political issue. But now because the opinion has shifted a little bit, everyone is so confident in saying anything they want when it concerns pro-Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I've had many interesting conversations over the last week or two with a lot of different friends, different races, different multicultural backgrounds and whatnot. And basically the consensus is, like, I had a white guy, older than me. He's in his, mid-late 40s, maybe 50s. And he was puzzled as to why Black Lives Matter meant so much and why not all lives matter. And I said, well, you have to think about it like this. All lives can't matter until Black lives matter. And it's in the concept of, when you look at the police brutality and excessive use of force, you can't look at the sheer numbers, because you'll say, oh, well, there's just as many or more white people that got shot or brutalized by police than blacks. But when you look at the percentages of the population, blacks represent roughly, I want to say, like 20 or 13%, something like that, of the population, whereas whites represent an overwhelming majority of the population. So when you look at the per capita of these incidents happening, it's happening at an overwhelming rate towards blacks than it is anyone else.
Jose, anything to add?
I mean, if you want to talk about quickness, we talked about this last week, right? The Drew Brees thing going in a matter of 3 days from his original comments to 3 days later fighting with the president of the United States about him mixing up the messages and stirring the pot like he always does. I mean, it's It's crazy. I don't know if we're gonna get into the Gundy thing now. If you guys wanted to wait, I felt really uncomfortable watching that apology. Like it was
weird, right? He didn't apologize.
No, he didn't. He didn't, and it just the handshake at the end. What the hell was that handshake at the end?
That was like the meme. That was the arm wrestling meme.
Oh my!
And what Drew Brees used as his Shutterstock image on his apology.
Stock image he paid $30 for.
Yeah, things like that. It's almost like, why does it take such outcry and backlash from a statement or an action to happen before you start to actually listen? And a lot of the things that I've been having conversations about with people is, why does it take so much and people to go so far before others actually start to listen to the message and not the actions? And that's the same thing I always had a problem with people criticizing Colin Kaepernick. It's like, well, he's kneeling, he's disrespecting the flag, he's disrespecting the troops, and he's disrespecting this and that. And it's like he actually talked to a white guy who is a former Green Beret who told him this is the most peaceful way to protest if you want to do this. Is don't sit down, do this. So a member of the military who you say he's supposedly disrespecting was the one who told him how to do this. But we all know the background to that. But the root of the issue at hand is, why are you looking at his action and not the meaning behind his action? And that's the whole point of all of this. Is it took people to start to protest and unfortunately riot and loot in the streets before people started actually looking into things. And I was listening to, I mean, we're all wrestling fans here. I was listening to a New Day podcast, and they said they were very emotional about it. And they talked about, you know, why does it take so much for people to understand something that's a very simple concept? And Big E went on to say that he had a lot of his friends, white friends, that called him and says, hey, I never knew anything about Black Wall Street and the Black Wall Street massacre in Tulsa, and why they had to research it after he told them. And then when they found out, they were like, oh my God, I never knew this. It's because they don't teach that in history in schools. You have to learn that on your own and be responsible and teach your kids this kind of stuff, or else they will never know it.
I didn't learn about that until college. I didn't know about that, and I think I was a sophomore in college.
You learned it in college, dude?
I learned it outside of college. I was in college when I learned it.
I took an African American literature class, and I didn't learn about it at UTSA. My freshman year, I took a class, I didn't learn about it. But it was their downtown campus, so it's like, you know,
okay,
it's cool. You know, it's not the CAP program; it's the downtown campus. Okay, so it was a little bit nicer. It was a newer campus, more resources. My professor was awesome, man. That was one of my favorite classes. I took an African American literature class my freshman year. Then I took a gay literature class my junior year, and you learn so much that you don't learn in your normal history classes, right? Because one, they're not going to put in everything. It's impossible to teach everything, right? But to leave out big moments in history, it's still so frustrating. And this, I'm changing the whole topic here, but this goes back to education. Mm-hmm. There's the education system is flawed. The education system is part of the problem, right? We can't fix that without money. And guess what? There's not that much money, it seems like. Although, all of a sudden, everybody's getting more checks, I heard. So, money's just appearing out of thin air. So, I guess we can do that for education next. Can we do that? So, like, to me, it's, I get it. Like, the history part is important. And education is important. But, Jermaine, at the end of the day, this is just a basic human thing. When you look around and you look at your common man and you look at your friends and what they're going through or what you're going through as a minority, and you can't relate, man, it is sad. It is sad that we don't have that compassion. We don't have that spirit in us to recognize that this is a problem that's impacting other people, and they're not having the best experience at this thing that we have one shot at. We get one shot at this thing called life, right? That's it. That's it. One shot. And if they don't have the best experience, how can we make it the best experience for them? It's not going to hurt your experience. That's the frustrating part. It comes down to that one simple human element, and we lose that for some reason. I don't know why.
It's a compassion thing, and it's basically having compassion for your fellow human being. when you fail to recognize another race or another person as a person, then you fail to have the same level of compassion for them as you would have for one of your own per se. So if I'm, prejudiced against, let's just say, for example, gays, and I see gay people, I wouldn't be compassionate towards them because I don't feel as though they're a person recognizably in my eyes because of my, views. Or if I'm racist towards Hispanics and I see Jose, I wouldn't see Jose as a full person in my eyes. So I would react differently towards him. And that's what I think is the biggest thing, is that when you have racist or homophobic or xenophobic or religious phobia views, then you tend to not look at those people as people. You tend to look at them as beings or things or obstacles in your way, and you don't see them as full people. And this goes back to the whole, when blacks were considered a 3/5 of a human, we weren't even considered full human beings. And so this was just within the last 100 or so years. This isn't even, we're not even talking about, 400 years ago when slavery started, or when they started to bring slaves to this country. We're talking about 50 years ago. Like, my grandmother and my grandfather barely had the right to vote. So we're not even talking generations and generations removed. We're talking 1 or 2 generations removed that all of this kind of stuff was still going on in this country. So it's still fresh in a lot of our minds. And the thing that I don't want to get lost is that there's other ethnic groups out there that are being treated poorly, like what's going on with the border and the detainees and these kids that are being held in basically like prison camps, all because they're trying to come into this country illegally, albeit, but they're just trying to come into this country to give themselves a better life. So there's so much more that we have to be focused on as human beings. And one of those things is treating each other as human beings.
Which is one of those things that we're told as kids, that this is the country for people to have better lives and better opportunities. And kids are being detained in pseudo jails away from their parents, haven't heard from their parents, don't know where their parents are, don't know if their parents are alive or dead. A lot of these kids have been raped. Kids have been ICE has lost over 1,000 kids. Like, how's that happening?
Yeah.
How's that happening? And why isn't that organization, why isn't it burnt to the ground? You lost 1,500 kids. How's that possible?
Yeah, you don't lose track of someone you have in custody unless you say they escaped. And there's no way in hell you're going to tell me some random 9, 10, 11-year-old is going to escape from a prison camp of the U.S. government. Like, that's just impossible.
What has the last 2.5, 3 weeks now meant for you, Jermaine, being a black man in America who, I mean, I know you and I can make this statement. You go about your life like the way most of us do that listen to this podcast, and most of us are pleasant. We treat everyone the same. We're nice to everyone, and you live that way. Because I've interacted with you now for almost 11 years. Mm-hmm. What has this meant for you to see not only the reaction from the black community, but everyone else?
I had an interesting conversation with my mom about a week or so ago. Sorry. And she was asking me what I thought and different things, and we were talking and everything. And she said she didn't like the fact that people were looting and rioting. And I said, it's funny you say that. I said, because I always take it back to Chris Tucker in one of his stand-ups when he was talking about OJ and Nicole Simpson, or, men beating on women. He was like, I don't agree with it, but I understand, and it was this punchline that he had that basically it applies to so many different situations. And she was like, yeah, but that's not right. And I said, Mom, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not condoning it. I said, but when you have over 400 years of racism, slavery, systemic oppression, and whatnot, when it bottles up and it finally blows up and it blows out, it's going to come out the way it comes out. And I said, it's just like if you've been meaning to tell somebody a piece of your mind, like how they've been treating you, and you've been holding back, and then finally one day you just snap. It's just going to come out how it comes out. And you oftentimes can't control it. It's just a reaction. And I said, now, I don't agree with the violence and whatnot, but I get where they're coming from, because people are trying to express themselves. And there's unfortunately sometimes where you have to go to extreme actions in order to make somebody realize, hey, I mean business about this. So it's been pretty scary. Just like I changed the way I've like go about my business day to day. Like I drive around for work every day, and I make sure that I have the insurance and my driver's license readily available in case I get pulled over, because I don't want to be seen reaching for anything. I'm in a situation now where I have a 17-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter, and I'm glad that my son isn't driving or is working. Like I always would joke with him about, hey, you need to get your driver's license, you need to get a job, you can have your own money. But I'm almost glad that he's not, because the day that he starts driving and the day that he has a job and starts doing things on his own and going out on his own, it's going to scare the crap out of me even more, because I'm like, what if that was my son?
Mm.
You
See,
know,
that's what we need. This is what everyone is fighting for, by the way. For those of you that don't understand, right there, like as a dad, you should never have that feeling that when my son starts driving, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, you should have the normal feelings. Okay, my teenage son is driving. He's probably going to get into some shit because he's a teenager. Okay, like we all
exactly.
did. But not that he's going to get shot up because he got pulled over and because he was reaching or he made a sudden movement. That's what the fight is for on the on one level. And then the other level is as a system. Like, can we improve it? Can we provide more opportunities for everyone, including your son, other black men, right? You got to break that cycle as well.
It's gotten to the point where my daughter will take her dog out in the front yard, and I'll get an alert on my phone when the doorbell camera recognizes there's motion there. And sometimes I'll watch, because I mean, we live in a nice suburb on a cul-de-sac, but still, it's still like I'll watch for a little while just to make sure there's nothing going on. My son, before all the pandemic hit and there were shut-ins and shutdowns and whatnot, he would go maybe a couple blocks up the road to go and play basketball at the recreation center for our neighborhood. Sometimes he and his friends would go to the corner store or whatnot, but I would always be like, Andrew, like, call me, text me. If you take a ride with a friend home, call me and let me know. Text me and let me know. My wife and I would always tell him, hey, if you're all going to the corner store in your friend's car, text us and let us know, that, hey, you're riding with so-and-so, you're in his car, you're going to this store. So that way we know. And one of the most proudest moments we had as parents was one time we were asking him, hey, why aren't you going and hanging with your friends? Or y'all going here and doing this and doing that? And he says, Mom, sometimes some of my friends, they get into things or they go out public and they act crazy. And I just don't want to get caught in any of that mess or trouble, because they may not be doing anything to cause trouble, but it attracts attention. And I don't want to be a part of that.
Wow.
And that was one of our proudest moments as a parent, for my son to say he'd rather stay at home, play video games or mess around the house or whatever, play with his dog, than to go out with his friends, because he doesn't want to get in trouble.
Man, but see, that right there to me is heartbreaking, because you're allowed to get in trouble. You're allowed to have fun with your friends. You're allowed to, I mean, hell, when I was growing up, when I was 17, 18, we're out at 1 a.m., 2 a.m. doing dumb jackass stunts, making all sorts of noise. Sometimes we're playing basketball until 2 a.m., and if the cop came, it's always pleasant. And it's like, hey, guys, stop, cut it out. There was never a fear, right? Like, oh, you might attract attention. That's hard. Like, you're allowed, Andrew, you're allowed to get in trouble, right? You're allowed to do dumb things like teenagers do. You shouldn't be afraid that if I'm attracting attention like that, to me, and great kid, that's awesome that he's doing that, Jermaine. Nicely done. But man, he should be allowed to get in trouble, right, Jose?
I mean, it's rough, because I give a lot of the credit to my wife, because she handles a lot of the stuff with the kids and stuff like that, and awesome, amazing woman. But and I mean, I do my part as well, but it's just when you have to raise your kids in a manner in which they're fearful of getting into trouble if they're out doing stupid stuff with their friends. Just for example, when we were going to get our laptops up at Best Buy up the road, we saw some kids in the parking lot. They were just maybe about 7 to 10 kids hanging out around a couple of cars. And they were just hanging out, talking, laughing, like making videos and dancing and doing stuff like that. But it's just that kind of thing where there's 7 to 10 minority kids hanging out in the parking lot, dancing, doing videos, talking, hanging out, whatever, that could attract the negative type of attention where cops think they're doing something. And then you get cops rolling up on you. Kids or teenagers, they get nervous. Some of them may run. Some of them may get scared, don't know how to answer questions. Then the cops think, oh, you must be up to something. They call in for more backup because it's only 1 or 2 cops and there's 7 to 10 kids. So then the situation escalates. And that's how things have gone. And I've seen it because I've been a part of stuff like that. And there's been times where I haven't been the most respecting, upright, standing citizen when I was growing up. I got into a lot of stupid things that I'm not proud of. But at the same time, there were times where I felt like the police probably should have harassed me and should have stopped me and frisked me and did whatever, and they didn't. And then there were times where, for example, I was riding my bike home one time from Tulane when I was still living in New Orleans, going to Tulane, and I got almost ran over by the police. They dumped my bag out on the sidewalk.
Oh,
And
wow.
then finally told me, hey, well, why did you stop? Why? They finally told me, oh, well, we had a home invasion suspect that fit your description. I was like, well, what do you mean? Well, by that time, they had already seen me. And they basically just described what I had on and said, a home invasion suspect that fit your description. So I'm sitting here like I got to pick up all my stuff. My bike is almost messed up, all because y'all wanted to follow me home and see where I was going while I was going through this neighborhood. I was literally around the corner from my grandmother's house, and this happened to me. So I've had things like that have happened to me over the years that make me kind of leery of when a cop gets behind me. So now there's a certain feeling of anxiety when a cop gets behind me or starts following me or notices me walking or whatever. So just going through those type of experiences, it makes you, it changes your mindset and it changes the way you move and things like that. And it's sad to say that you feel a certain type of anxiety when you're around police when they're supposed to make you feel safer as opposed to make you feel uncomfortable.
Man, that's like when a sheriff patrol or because you guys are in Fort Bend, right? Are you guys?
Yeah.
Are you guys annexed? Do you get the sheriff or do you get the Sugarland police?
We have a lot of Fort Bend County sheriffs
Okay.
and Rosenberg police that patrol our area.
So when they roll through your neighborhood, do you wave at them or do you just kind of ignore them? What do you do?
I just kind of keep it moving. Like
Keep it moving, right?
I don't even want to attract the attention because like if I see them in person, like let's say if they're at the corner store or something like that, I'll, give them a head nod or whatever. But it's just the feeling of sometimes like when you look up and they're already looking at you and they already notice you before you notice them. And depending on when I look up and I see them noticing me, the way they acknowledge me is the way I acknowledge them. If I see them with a smile and they nod, wave, hey, how you doing? I'll do the same thing. But if I see that cold stare, I just put my head down and keep it moving because I don't want to attract that attention.
Man, that's nuts. Like when a sheriff patrol go through our neighborhood, I go out my way. I'm waving at them. I try to talk to them, no fear, and that's not fair that you don't have that comfort level.
Well, there was one time, I'm not gonna lie, I had a light out on my car. Fort Bend County Sheriff pulls me over. I'm nervous as hell because I'm like, this could turn into anything. And I turned into a residential area, and I make sure if it's at night, I try to pull over under a city light to where it's well lit. He looks at it, checks my license, registration, everything. He said, okay. He's like, look, I pulled you over because your light's out. He's like, what's going on? I was like, oh, it probably went out during the flood, whatever. I didn't even notice it. He was like, okay, well, look, I'm gonna let you out with a warning. Just make sure you get that taken care of because it's kind of dangerous. You drive it at night, blah, 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 blah. He was like, you have a good night, sir. I was like, okay, thank you. And I went on about my business and I like had this huge relief. And I didn't pull off until I wasn't gonna pull off until I saw him pull off. Well, he was just waiting for me to pull off. So when I pulled off, he just kind of let me go. And I've seen cops that do that before where they wait for you to pull off and then they start to follow you to see where you're actually going. I pulled off and he turned and went the other way. And that's when I felt relief was when, okay, he was being friendly. He let me off with a warning. Good deal. I didn't get a ticket because he could have given me a ticket. But at the same time, what is his reaction after that? And his reaction after that was, okay, I'm going about my business. And I went my way. He went the opposite way. And that's when I felt like, okay, this was a good guy. I still didn't feel that way after he let me off with the warning because I'm like, he could have followed me home to make sure that I had the right address or I was actually going to my house. But he didn't. He went the other way. So that's when I finally felt relief.
Jose, what do you do when you see a cop in your neighborhood?
Nothing. I do about the same. I mostly ignore them and kind of mind my own business. If I'm driving, I make sure I'm not speeding. But
Am I the only one that says hi to them?
Yeah, friendly ass.
Yeah.
I say hi to everybody, to be fair. You guys know that. I say hi.
Yeah, you are super friendly. I mean, in my experiences, except this last one a couple weeks ago, every time I've been pulled over, I have had good experiences with really nice cops. One of them was a straight state trooper, actually, because I was an idiot who sped in between San Marcos and Austin when everyone knows you're not supposed to speed through
No.
there. And I sped through there, and he didn't give me a ticket. And I had the exact same situation you had, Jermaine, happen to me. And I want to say that was in 2016 or 2017. Tail light I didn't know was out. And cop pulls me over, and he was really nice about it. Shook my hand and everything. Told me to have a good night. So I've had mostly pleasant experiences, except for the douchebag a couple weeks ago who told me I didn't make a complete stop, and he gave me a ticket for that.
Man, well, you're gonna take driver's ed and get it off?
Yeah, I have to. I'm taking a class. I have till the end of August. Too lazy to do it.
Jermaine, how's everything else going with you, man?
It could be better, but it can't get any worse. To be honest with you, but I mean,
don't tempt this year. Couldn't get any worse. Don't tempt this year.
Yeah, I mean,
don't speak too soon.
It's been crazy, man. Deaths in the family unexpectedly. A couple of them COVID-19 related, and
sorry,
crazy stuff happening. You know, one thing crazy after another. But like I was telling my sister the other night, we were talking, and I say, you know, this wouldn't be our life if things weren't this crazy, because things have been crazy for us since we were kids. So we're just kind of used to it, just kind of roll with the punches. But I mean, as far as everything else is concerned, you know, as long as, you know, everything's taken care of with the wife and the kids and they're happy, healthy or whatever, I could care less.
You back to work yet?
We've been working pretty much steadily because we're a cleaning company, so we're considered essential.
Okay.
So things are starting to round back into form. We're hoping things take an uptick now with different phases of the state opening up and people feeling a lot more comfortable. But it's going to be a slow grind, man, to get back to it, because so many of our clientele base, since it's a high-end cleaning company, are like oil and gas and fields related to that. And so when their money slows down and stops, our money kind of slows down and stops. So it's just going to be a matter of time before we can get back into the swing of things. But our busy season is normally holiday time, so we're just kind of biding our time until holiday time comes, and hopefully it'll be back to normal by then.
Do you guys think we're heading for a second shutdown here? Because the numbers are not looking good. It's now reached the point where I think we're all starting to recognize somebody that has it. Like, we all know somebody that has it.
Yeah.
Jermaine, you just mentioned, and I'm sorry to hear about the passing of your friends and family. You've lost people to COVID-19. But now it's getting to the point for, like, everybody, you know somebody, because earlier on it was like, oh, you know, people would tweet, do you guys know anybody that has COVID-19? And it was a resounding no. And now when you tweet that, everybody knows somebody. I mean, it's getting to the point where, yes, I think most of us are going to get it or have gotten it at some point.
Yeah, I've had two older aunts, my grandfather's two older sisters that passed away from it, several other family members in the same family that had it and recovered from it. I had a friend in high school who was actually intubated and in really bad shape and ended up making a recovery from it.
Oh, man.
Another friend from high school, she has other prior health issues that caused hers to be really bad. Just listening to some of the story, like Glenn Davis talking about his nephew, who's, you know, in his early 30s, relatively healthy guy, who had to fight it off for like 2 months. You know, so just hearing things like that and unexpectedly, when my uncle passed away, people thought, oh, did he have the virus? I was like, no, it was a heart attack. You know, it wasn't virus related. So when you have people that pass away during a time like this and it's not COVID related, the first thing people ask is, was it COVID related? And it kind of harkens me back to Katrina, when Hurricane Katrina happened, and people would hear that I'm from New Orleans. The first thing they would ask me, oh, did you come out here after Katrina?
Right.
Like, no, I was here before. So it's just been a crazy, crazy time.
You saw Scarface. Yeah. Sorry, Jose. Go ahead.
It feels like a second closure is coming, and probably rightfully so. We shouldn't have opened in the first place. Personally, that's what I think. And it's not stopping. Florida for like 3 days in a row now has topped its record for new cases. It's not stopping. It's not slowing down. It's like we shut down and didn't do anything, didn't learn anything, and we just.
It's like we just got bored of
being greedy obnoxious Americans.
Look, we got bored of it. That's what it was. It
Yeah.
really felt like, okay, we're over this. You told us it was going to be 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turned into 4 weeks, and 4 weeks turned into 6 weeks, and we did our time, and the numbers have fallen, and you're like, well, no crap, they've fallen because everybody was doing the right thing,
Yeah.
and making sure that the hospitalization numbers aren't going up. And now everyone's back out, and we've now seen the damage done from Memorial Day. We're going to see the damage from the protests because those numbers are going to go up. And they are already going up because people are taking more testing. And that's fine. Like, look, the number that worries me, man, is that hospitalization number. That number scares the crap out of me because once you start hitting the limit of how many people are in the hospitals, that's it. I mean, then you get to the point like it was in other countries where doctors are going to have to start deciding. They're going to start
Italy
deciding
had to decide.
who's worth living.
That was a big thing in Italy.
So
they had to decide if you had any underlying conditions, they wouldn't intubate you. They would basically sign your death certificate.
That's scary, man. You saw Scarface, by the way. He was, remember when he first got it, and like he's doing these Instagram posts and telling everyone like, "Hey, stay home. This isn't a good thing." And then a week later, the actual COVID-19 started impacting him. And his lungs, they took a hit, but he's fine. But now his kidneys are so bad, he has to get dialysis every single day.
Every day?
Every day.
Oh my
God. What happens is the medication that they give you in order for you to fight off the respiratory infection part of the COVID-19, it starts to affect your kidneys because your kidneys have to process everything your body intakes. And so when you're intaking all these different medications and whatnot, and intravenous vitamins and minerals and stuff to keep you alive, to keep you eating and whatnot, then it's a lot of pressure on your kidneys. So whereas, okay, your body is trying to heal itself with medication from one part of your body, it's affecting a whole nother part of your body. Oh. And so that's the hard part. Like I had two different cousins. One has some chronic breathing issues and whatnot, and I think he may have some other issues with liver and stuff like that, stomach. And I had another cousin, his sister, who she was just told, go home, take some Mucinex and take this and quarantine and you'll be fine. Whereas he was in ICU, and this is a brother and a sister I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because I've seen it affect different people in different ways. People who you think are relatively healthy, they get totally taken out by it. And then there are some people who I've heard about that's like 80, 90 years old, and they beat it, and it's just, you don't know how it's going to affect people until you actually get it. And then next thing you know, you're in the middle of it, and it's like, okay, now there's a problem. But I just think that people aren't taking it serious. I think the government was being greedy because they wanted to open things up to try to stimulate the economy instead of passing out more stimulus checks, which has its pros and cons. And the cons to that is you're going to expose more people to the virus. More people are going to get it. You don't know how they're going to be reacting to it. And the pros to that, to me, don't outweigh the cons of it. And so now we're sitting here dealing with this second wave of it.
We'll see what happens, man. Jermaine, thank you so much for joining us today. You can follow Jermaine on Twitter, _Jermaine. Again, it's linked in the bio of this episode, or if you're watching live, then just go to Twitter, _Jermaine. Man, appreciate it. Anything you're working on right now, or are you just grinding at the job?
Matter of fact, I'm about to write my Sports Map article to come out tomorrow about how these positive tests could potentially affect the Texans in their upcoming season.
Okay, perfect. So that's going to be on sportsmap.com. If you like sports and if you like maps, there's a new home for you, Sports Map.
Come for the sports. Stay for the maps.
Jermaine, thank you so much, brother.
All right, thanks, guys.
He's awesome.
Take care, Jermaine. Talk to you soon, brother.
All right, bye-bye.
Love talking to him, man. He's an overall good dude. Not an all-around good dude like you, Jose, but he's an overall good dude.
We didn't talk enough wrestling with Jermaine.
I know.
We kind of lost track of time with Jermaine. We're going to have him back on.
Yeah, for sure. He's going to be on more. It's with his day job, it's hard for him to jump on with me for an hour, so we have to take Monday nights. And then, by the way,
the night chat.
Next Monday night, we're not going to be doing a show because I'm going to be out of town.
Tell them why you're going to be out of town.
Okay,
Tell
so
them why.
Okay, here's why. So my best friend that lives here, they're moving to Augusta, which, by the way, now That leaves me approximately with no childhood best friends that live here, because one of my friends, one lives in Dubai, and the other one is now moving to Augusta. Yeah, he's pursuing a career in golf. That's why. No, I'm joking. His wife is doing a residency there. So they're moving next week, and because of the way everything is set up in this economy, and like one little disruption just knocks out everything, including the freight business. To ship his car, it's like $1,000 right now, and that's expensive. I mean, that's a lot right there.
No, absolutely.
So they have 2 cars. They want to move both of them up there, and he hit me up. He's like, "Hey man, can you do me a favor? Before you say no, just know that I know that you're unemployed and you have nothing going on, okay?" And he said, "I know you're unemployed, so before you answer, just know that, okay?" He said, do you mind? He's like, "Look, can you drive our second car up and drop it off with us? And I'll fly you back. And
I'll pay you in pizza and crappy beer."
No, he's not paying me in anything. He's like, "Man, I felt bad."
He's not paying you at all?
What do you want me to
You're
charge
unemployed.
him? I know. Texas is paying me. You guys are paying me.
You should have asked for like $600 or something.
I'm not asking him for anything. That's my best
You're
friend,
unemployed.
Jose. Yeah, but who cares? I'm getting paid by the state. Okay.
How you get finessed by your own friend, dog?
And then he's like, "Look, I know. I don't know if you want to travel back by plane or what." I'm like, "I'm not driving back 10 hours."
How
bro.
else?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm driving from here to Atlanta, and I'm gonna go see my sister who recently got married, and she's up there, so I'm gonna spend a day with her and then fly back.
Is she pursuing a golf career?
No, she's not pursuing a golf career. She's pursuing no career right now because the educational system is shut down over there too. So I'll be there next week, and I get back. I'm I'm leaving Monday 5 a.m. and driving there. It should take it says 10 hours, but they also have a newborn, so we're gonna be stopping a lot, and I don't want to. I want to stay with them the whole time, because if I get pulled over and that car's not in my name, I don't want to make this a whole big deal. So, I'll be right behind them. I'm sure it's going to end up being like 12 hours to get there. And then by the time I get there, then I come back Tuesday. So I'm flying out the next day because I want to get home. I don't want to stay too long and get back. So I'll have a new video on YouTube, traveling during COVID-19. I'm going to chronicle the whole thing and show that.
Your do's and don'ts.
Mm-hmm.
Wear a mask. Yes.
Wear a mask. Listen
Pick up
to
someone on Craigslist to split the gas with you. No.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I was thinking about who could I take with me. My wife can't go because she has work, and she has to, somebody has to keep the lights on in the house. Baby Trickster's not going to come with me because she can't stay in a car for more than 10 minutes sometimes because she's just like so fidgety about everything.
I volunteer.
I'm not taking your ass after that thing you texted me, so no way you're coming with me. So yeah, that's why.
Will he pay for my flight back? We can knock out like 10 podcast episodes on the ride.
No, but then that's the whole point. And then if he pays for your flight, the gas, the food, then he should have just paid for the freight.
I'm just saying, we could knock out like 10 podcasts and not have to do a live one for a while.
We could do
That's all I'm saying.
We could do a 10-hour podcast. Could you imagine that? That would be intense. Okay, so what's happened with you in the last week, man?
Man, kind of just going through the motions.
Yeah,
I did watch that Chappelle special with you.
Okay,
not with you. We kind of watched it around the same time, I feel like.
Well, let's jump into that real quickly since you brought it up, man. Chappelle 8:46. If you haven't watched it yet, 8 minutes and 46 seconds. You texted it to me, right? You
Yeah.
You texted me. I was awake because I don't go to bed till like 1:30 sometimes. I ain't got no.
You don't have a job or whatever.
Yeah, my job is to be entertained now. You texted it to me, and we all watched it live. And we being our chat mate El Jefe, your initial thoughts, because I have some notes for you and some follow-up questions that is gonna incite some debate here.
So I've only watched it once.
Okay.
That night it came out Thursday going into Friday. It was after Friday. It was midnight when it came out, Friday morning. it was sombering. I mean, it was something that I don't want to say that he needed to say because no one actually literally needs to say anything. But a person of his platform, of his reputation, of his idea of who Dave Chappelle is, it was really good. It was an encapsulation of like the moment in time we're living in, not only with police brutality and everything that he talks about, but the way he actually had an audience that gave me chills. The way he had everything laid out, everyone with masks with the Dave Chappelle logo on it. It was just really almost eerie. Like, this is the reality of what we are. I'm going to tell a joke here and there, but this is where we are. This is how I feel about where we are. And yeah, it was really powerful. It was really moving, I thought.
So it was supposed to be a comedy special because Joe Rogan had Jimmy O Yang on one of his episodes before the special was released, or this 30-minute clip. I don't even want to call it special because this was just a 30-minute clip entitled 846 on YouTube. It was definitely supposed to be a comedy special because Joe
Right.
Rogan was saying Chappelle is doing a comedy thing. Like, he's having people out there. They're doing a concert. It's a wedding venue in Ohio that his friend owns. And that's why you have that beautiful mantle with the candles and all that. It's because it's a wedding venue. That's why there's so much space to do it. It's not on his property. So he was pumping it up like it was going to be a comedy special and
Yeah.
not what it ended up being, which was an important TED Talk almost. You know, like that's what it felt like. It was almost like, hey, everyone, this is why everyone's so frustrated. This is why. I think the best thing he had in there was the story about Chris Dorner, about how when the cops pulled up on him and 400 cops show up, right? And it was like because one of their own died. And that's why we are protesting. That's why we're on the streets, because one of ours died. And that was the best comparison. It's like, okay, do you guys understand now why people are doing
Right.
this? And then, Mr. Josh Like a Boss, aka El Jefe, says, "Who cares what Ja Rule is thinking at a time like this?" Which was a little kickback to one of his previous specials,
Right.
where it's like, who cares what Ja Rule thinks about 9/11, right? So
Right, which was also, which honestly, the first time I saw that clip was when we had the two Firefest docs come out, that one
Mhm.
in like a span of like a week, and everyone that clip resurfaced. That
Yeah,
was a
that's
good
right.
callback to that.
So it was awesome, man. The special was great. I mean, you didn't even need this special or this clip. Really, I don't know what you call it, special for.
Yeah,
Just so it's easier to reference. But the thing about this special, it was already the case before it, but it cements that Dave Chappelle is the greatest to do stand-up comedy, right? Like there's no doubt that he's the greatest. I thought he was the greatest on his last special, Sticks and Stones, which I went back and rewatched, and it's 100 times funnier now because he points out so many important things, and you're like, damn, this is why you're Dave Chappelle, because it's not stand-up anymore.
Right.
It's actual observations about our society that will live, and when we watch it 20 years from now, you go, oh, that's what it was like. That, because he's just capturing everything in a time capsule, as you said. It is perfect. But my follow-up question to you is, if Dave Chappelle's the GOAT, how many GOATs have we seen, the greatest of all time, have we seen in our time on this planet? Like us, personally. I'm 35 years old. Jose, you are 26?
26.
26 years old. How many GOATs have you watched in your life at their profession? So Dave
Okay.
Chappelle, stand-up comedy, we agree.
Lionel Messi,
Okay? Ronaldo or Messi, either one.
either or, whatever side of the
Okay.
argument you're on.
Can you make a case for any other players before?
Um,
Maradona?
none of them have had the longevity that them two have had.
Okay.
So I don't think so. At this point, I don't think so.
Okay, and these are like actual. These are the GOATs that we watched, not when we were 5, not when we were 6. Like these are.
Yeah.
I mean, like we remember how they came to be the GOAT. You know, Michael Jordan in the NBA, or LeBron
James.
Yeah, or LeBron James, whichever. But you'll be wrong on that one.
My thought, my thought was Jay-Z, because we've seen Jay-Z have to do it more than once. We've seen Jay-Z go through pitfalls of mediocre albums and come back and do it better.
I put Tupac to the greatest ever.
There's no debate here. Yeah, Tupac.
And
yeah.
Somebody's gonna say Biggie Smalls, but again, those are all in
Sure.
our life.
Right.
You know, so I mean, like we're just saying. So now the other one, non-hip hop, non-rap, who would be the musical greats? The Beatles. We weren't alive for that.
Right.
Anybody else musically that comes to mind? Sufjan Stevens. We're alive for that, so that's good. Greatest storyteller of our life.
Josh is gonna drop a J. Cole in 3, 2, 1. Oh damn it, he didn't drop it.
He didn't drop it because even he knows it's not true. J. Cole's not one of the greats. Anybody
Kanye?
else? Yes, I was gonna say Kanye. For me,
You don't want to seem fanboyish.
In this climate, I don't want to say Kanye. although the long con, supposedly the long con, Kanye West, the whole MAGA thing was just so he could get prison reform done. And somebody, and I didn't look this up, so I don't know if this is true because I didn't actually search. I didn't search the database, but he never donated. He never donated to President Trump's election fund or any other election or any other donations thereafter.
What about Beyonce or Lady Gaga? I would say more Beyonce than Lady Gaga.
Okay, Madonna would like to have a chat with all you guys.
Who?
Madonna would like to have a chat with you guys about greatest female pop artist. Who else would it be? Beyonce.
Justin Blackmore mentions Drake.
Congratulations to him. What year anniversary was it?
I think his first album.
Yeah, first. Wasn't it 13 years?
I think it's been 10 years since Thank Me Later, or whatever.
Yeah, 2009.
I still haven't thanked them for that album.
Michael Jackson.
Aaron mentions Michael Jackson. I missed that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Did you?
Anybody to Michael Jackson, Prince?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. If you're gonna say Michael Jackson, Prince as well.
Well, see, okay, but Prince, in his prime, it was 1985. So that doesn't. I don't think that counts because that concert, the one that just posted on YouTube, that was like peak Prince. That was him and the Revolution.
So I would say, from his prime would be from 1999 to probably Sign of the Times, which is 87. Obviously, Purple Rain's in between there. So that's before me, obviously.
Yeah, I was a baby, so that doesn't count for me. That was pre-America. I mean, I wasn't even in America yet. So.
You weren't even American Raheel yet?
Yeah. So okay, we haven't. So Prince, we didn't get a chance to enjoy him, but we've got to enjoy mostly everybody else. Let's go to the art of TV and movies. Breaking Bad, greatest television show ever.
Some people will say Sopranos. Some people will say The Wire. Fun fact: I tried to start watching The Wire, and I started watching it, and I was like, man, this is not a good pilot. I'm so confused by everything right now. What is all of this? Raheel, I was watching the 5th episode. So for whatever reason, on HBO now, it loads not the first episode. It loads the episode you didn't finish. So if you didn't go through the complete credits of something, it's going to load that episode. So I'm obviously using someone else's account. I go into the app and I hit The Wire. I hit the first episode, and I'm like 45 minutes through this episode, and I finally realized episode 5, and I'm like, what the hell? No wonder this doesn't make any sense.
True story. The reason I didn't like Mademoiselle, everyone swears by this show, the Mademoiselle show on Amazon. I don't even know the full name of the show because I don't watch it.
The show about the comedian?
Yeah, Marvelous Miss Maisel or Madame, whatever it's called. I don't know what it's called. Yeah. Lance was like, you got to watch it. My brother was like, you got to watch the show. It's so great. It's one of the funniest shows. I started season 2, episode 3. And ever since I started there, I was like, this show sucks.
So you did the same thing. You did the same thing.
And I haven't given it another shot, and I don't want to give it another shot. I was like, if this is what it culminates to, then I'm good. I don't need to waste my time because I'm not going to find it funny a year from now.
So that's how I felt when I was watching the 5th episode of The Wire, thinking I was watching the pilot episode. I've invested almost an hour in this episode, so I have to go back and invest another hour in the pilot, and then I'm going to have to rewatch this episode and a couple of episodes again.
You got to invest 4 hours into the 5th episode because now for it to make sense, you need to watch the previous 4.
Yeah, it's just Jermaine's dropping some gems as well. Outkast, Wu-Tang Clan producers, Pharrell Williams, I think is one of, if not the greatest producers of all time, and certainly, we've experienced his musical endeavors.
Quincy Jones, Quincy Jones, we didn't live through the prime of Quincy Jones because Thriller was his peak, right? He and Michael Jackson. Right. We didn't live through the prime of that one. We've enjoyed it, but yeah, that would be one that we missed out on. Christian Bale, GOAT Batman. Yes, that's not even a. Absolutely. So we experienced one of the greatest trilogies ever, if not the greatest trilogy, with the Dark Knight trilogy. The Office as the greatest sitcom. I can live with that. The Office as the greatest sitcom. Any other funnier shows? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, does that count as a sitcom?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, I think it is.
I don't know. I don't think I'd put it up there, but I would say it is.
Okay.
Prime Simpsons?
Prime Simpsons is. But we lived through that because Simpsons debuted in 89. 89. Okay.
Yeah, and season 9 was where people generally say that's where it dropped off with the Skinner episode, the real Skinner episode in season 9.
I don't remember that one. What was that one?
The real Seymour Skinner comes back, and we find out Principal Skinner's name is Arn Tanzarian or something like that.
Yeah.
And after that, that's like the known the known point in the Simpsons fandom of when the show fell apart.
Luis says Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, greatest reality show, greatest food show for sure.
That's a good one.
I'm sorry. Well, you know where I'm going next Monday? One-way trip to Flavortown. That's right. I think it's on I-10. Flavortown is. I think it's right next to Vider. So that was just a question I wanted to ponder with you. The greatest Tom Brady, NFL quarterback, greatest to ever do it. We lived through that. MLB, greatest to do it, pitcher-wise. We lived through that.
Well, who would you say?
Pedro's up there.
Nolan Ryan.
Nolan, I would say Nolan in Houston would be the greatest. You can make a case Roger Clemens had his run, but he's not the greatest, but he had a run there. Justin Verlander, his run and current run still. Baseball's a little bit harder because then it gets into, but would the pitcher from the 70s make it in today's landscape, right? Like then we can play that game because that MLB is a lot harder to decide the greatest. Right.
Jermaine's dropping some gems. We totally forgot Rick Rubin, who started producing for the BC Boys, has produced for Kanye, for Eminem recently, for acts like Brockhampton. He's been consulting a lot of artists, so he's still doing a lot of big stuff today.
Tinker Hatfield, greatest shoe designer, who designs all the Jordans.
All the good Jordans. Well, I shouldn't say all the good Jordans, but
most of the good Jordans. Most of the good Jordans. He's behind them. Anything else? I'm trying to think what other categories that we could bring up for this discussion. And if you have any, again, please do tweet us during the week at @the_Raheel at ParJ94.
Didn't say movies.
So
that's a tough one. That's really tough.
Movies are impossible. We're like that one. You can't pick the greatest movie of all time because everyone's going to disagree about that.
There's just too many movies. That's always been my take. When people are like, "Oh, you've never seen so and so?" No, because there's just too many movies.
The worst.
I will say
Go ahead.
What's up? What I was gonna say is I'm very proud of all the movies that came out the year I was born. '94, we got Lion King, we got Toy Story, we got Forrest Gump, we got Pulp Fiction. All those movies.
Toy Story was '94.
Yeah. If not, it was 90. If not, I'm wrong about that one.
No,
but I'm not.
Toy Story was like 2000.
No, 95. No,
95?
Toy Story was 95. Yeah. Sorry, Toy Story was 95. But all the other ones I know for sure are 94.
I didn't know it was 95. That's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Like when we talked about several months ago when we talked about like our favorite Pixar movies, And I told you I would watch it every day. I literally would watch it every day. I'd have some crappy mac and cheese and watch Toy Story every afternoon.
Man, now I have to retrace my childhood because I was all in on The Lion King, and that was just a year apart from Toy Story. I wonder if we just didn't have enough money to enjoy the Toy Story.
I don't know why I'm laughing at that. That was funny.
No, I'm serious. They probably didn't market to the A-Leaf crowd. They're like, look, you A-Leaf bums, Toy Story's not meant for you, okay? The Lion King,
You're not gonna buy these toys. Let's face it, you're not buying these toys.
I don't see Raheel carrying a Buzz Lightyear, so you know what? You're not getting it in Tradewin's apartment. All right, we're not gonna market to you guys. The WWE Attitude Era. That could you make a case that was the greatest wrestling time?
I actually think wrestling wise, it's a lot better now. It's not. It's written crappy.
Right now is better.
I think wrestling wise, yeah. I think
the actual wrestling. Okay, yeah. The actual physical wrestling, yes, it's better. But in terms of the overall product, it is not better.
There's no debating that.
And thus why the Attitude Era is a great one to bring up, because you always left satisfied during the Attitude Era. You were like, oh my God.
I didn't really live to that.
Yeah.
That's more of a you thing. I was the Ruthless Aggression Era.
You were in the clean it up. We got to make sure Jose Partida watches era. You didn't have any blood growing up in wrestling, did you?
I did.
You did?
Dude. Eddie, was it Eddie Guerrero JBL? One of the reasons they stopped bleeding was because Eddie had a serious bleed where he was completely covered in blood. I watched that.
Okay.
When it happened.
Okay.
I think it was that gimmick match he did with a rope with JBL, and he ended up like he bladed and he profusely was bleeding. He was completely covered in blood.
El Jefe brings up a good one with Eddie Guerrero. I'm not going to disagree with you that he's the GOAT. Like that's fine. You can. I'm going to say for me it's Stone Cold, but I'm not going to get into an argument with you that is Eddie Guerrero, because you can make a case for it, man. You can legit make a case.
Yeah, him and Rey Mysterio were the reasons I was watching a lot of wrestling.
Well, you're not.
Then John Cena came along.
You're not helping stereotypes there, Jose.
Then John Cena came along. Our GOAT, John Cena, came along, and now John Cena's doing all these things for the people behind the scenes and doesn't really want to take credit for any of it.
No,
now we can't see him.
What is he doing now?
So we're all K-pop stans now, because K-pop has been very helpful to the Black Lives Matter movement in the last couple of weeks. And he matched a $1 million donation from I don't know, I can't remember the name of that K-pop band. BTS? Yeah. BTS, yeah. And when I can't remember his name. Jermaine, if you're still in the comments, Jermaine will mention his name. The wrestler who passed away tragically about a month ago now, he drowned, and John Cena unanimously donated like $50,000 to his GoFundMe. Well, and he left enough hints for people to be able to track that it was him. So yeah, John Cena's doing good work for the people.
Cool. How much was that of his net worth?
A dent.
I'm joking. I'm totally messing
Pocket watch and Raheel.
Okay, so if you have any, let us know throughout the week. We are so lucky to be alive during the Dave Chappelle era, man. I mean, it is just incredible, all the content that he's putting out. For me, it was devastating, like legit devastating when Chappelle pulled away and said, I'm not doing it. Yeah, when he walked away, he's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing any more Chappelle show. This was while I was in college, okay? And this was something I would watch religiously. I know. To me, it was like, that's it. I thought it was fake. I'm not even joking. Every night I would turn on Comedy Central hoping it was a big joke from Dave Chappelle that he walked away and here's a new episode for everybody.
Yeah.
That wasn't the case.
So how did you feel about the third season that was hosted by Charlie Murphy?
I didn't even watch it.
No?
I can't. I don't even remember it. I didn't watch it.
When you've gone back to rewatch the show, do you watch it?
I haven't. I haven't watched that ever. Period.
Really?
I might have seen sketches from it, but I can't tell you a moment from those episodes. I can't. Like, to me, once he left, the show ended. That was it. Like, I wanted no part of it, even though there was, like they still had some canned sketches and all that. To me, it was over. That's it. Like, And then his stand-up, obviously we're not getting any more stand-up. And like to the point where you would see leaked pictures of Chappelle and I'd be like, oh my God, that he's coming back. And, he's back in New York or he's back in Cleveland looking all yoked now. That means we're going to get a special. And then all of a sudden you hear, oh, Chappelle did 15 minutes. There's a rumor on the internet that Chappelle did something. And here's a little clip somebody captured somehow, some way to show that Chappelle's doing it. And then it was, hey, Chappelle he's going to hit the road here pretty soon. And he never came, like, no, it didn't come to fruition. And then that Funny or Die concert series that was traveling around for a while, he was on that. And that's why we went to the Woodlands Pavilion. And up to the point he came out, we didn't believe he was going to come out. We thought it was all just like the promoter trying to get everybody there because it's a startup festival. And this was Funny or Die's final hurrah before they went extinct. And then when he came out, he only did like 30 seconds, I think. It was horrible because it was his
Really?
birthday.
Wait, I didn't know
No,
this
it was
story.
like, I think it was 18 minutes. He had done almost 45 minutes to an hour everywhere else, but it was his birthday that night. And he did not, 8/24, August 24th. That's his birthday, if you guys remember from the special. When he only did 18 minutes, I was like, oh, I don't think we're ever going to get a full special. And then the Netflix stuff comes out, and I'm like, what? This is incredible. He's back. This was like Jordan coming back to the Wizards. You get one more chance, but instead, we now get like Chappelle's in his prime again. Like he has done this again.
Remember he did like 4 or 5 shows here on back-to-back nights.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Houston late last year, and they were impossible to get into.
Yeah, it's like he's the GOAT, man. My buddy Raheel's listening, the other Raheel, and he said Joe Rogan had a great story about when he disappeared. He would show up in random comedy shows in random cities. He still does that right now. He'll just show up on people's shows and just be like, hey, can I go up? Cool, let's go. That's how Rogan, and now Rogan hits the road with Chappelle, and they'll just randomly do shows. So when I was in college, this is my freshman year at the Improv in Houston. I don't know if I ever told you the story. So this was in between season 1 and season 2 of Chappelle's show, if the timeline's correct. So at the time, I remember seeing a poster for the Chappelle's going to be at the Houston Improv. And it was going to be the following weekend. I'm in San Antonio for my freshman year. And I'm like, man, UTSA, what's up? All right. What starts there changes the world. Well, not really. And I remember seeing it, and I looked up the ticket prices, and I could not afford a ticket. And that was the last show he ever did in Houston, until he came back. And I was like, man, I missed it. I missed the one chance to watch Chappelle because I couldn't afford it. It was impossible. I mean, I'm a broke-ass college student paying for my education. And I was like, man, I had that regret until the Funny or Die tour when I finally saw him.
And then I saw him for 18 minutes.
And then I saw him at Smart Financial Center in the suite, and that was
big baller.
Oh, dude, you don't understand how awesome that moment was for me, sitting in a suite watching Chappelle. When just in 2000,
that's when you knew you had finally made it.
I had finally made it, and I was like, nothing's ever going to change my life now. And then COVID-19 happened. The other thing I want to, Joe Rogan is the GOAT at the podcast game. That's a late from El Jefe. Yeah. You get him, or you go back to the original GOAT, This American Life. That is the GOAT. But that's a radio show that's
that true crime podcast, Serial. The guy from Serial. I feel like that started a whole subgenre.
Serial started the crime podcast genre for sure, and I think it introduced podcasts to the mainstream more than anything it has ever done.
That's the first I remember ever hearing about a podcast was a Serial podcast. My ex-girlfriend insisting I listen to that in 2011, 2012.
It was 2014.
2014. Yeah. That sounds
13 or 14 because
that was the first time I remember actively thinking about oh, this is something I need to listen to.
How I Built This is a great podcast as well. Thanks for bringing up great podcast suggestions. Have
No one's
you
mentioned this one.
the Raheel Show podcast? Hello. Have you listened to Slow Burn yet by Slate? So Slate the magazine, one of the writers, Joel D. Anderson, is a Houston native. He writes for Slate now, but he did season 3 of Slow Burn, and season 1 and season 2 of Slow Burn are great. Season 3 is specifically great for us because we're hip hop guys, and so is Joel. It's all about Tupac and Biggie's murder, and
Ooh.
it's I believe it's 6 to 8 parts. I just started it, episode 1 and episode 2. Man, you got to listen to it. Slow Burn season 3.
So do you know off the top of your head what the other 2 seasons are?
Season 1 is Watergate.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Watergate, and I listened to that, and dude, they introduce characters that you'll be like, what? I didn't even know this existed. And you're like, yep. And they explain why certain characters in history disappear. But that was a great one. And then season 2, I didn't listen yet, but I can tell you what it is in a second.
I thought Slate was a music website.
Is it a music website?
Am I confusing it for something else?
No.
Maybe I'm confusing it for something else.
I think you're thinking of BET.
No, I'm not thinking about BET.
I'm messing with you. No, Slate does do music, but I don't know about if it's just strictly music. Anyway, Joel's going to be on the podcast at some point. We're trying to get the dates down right now. Sorry. Season 2 is the Monica Lewinsky scandal.
Oh my.
Yeah. So
is it really a scandal?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know. We're gonna have to listen to see if it's a scandal or if it was just I'm gonna get some.
My man was just trying to get his.
Yeah. Okay. Other topics we're like way over, but I'm sorry, guys. This is gonna be a long one because
there was one thing I did want to ask you about.
Ask away.
What the hell is the Eyes of Texas, and why is it canceled?
Okay, perfect. Because I wanted to bring this up. So, the Eyes of Texas is our school song. Okay, that's what we sing at the end of all the football games. That's what we sing.
At UTSA or at UT Austin?
At UT Austin.
Okay.
At UT Austin. It should be across all UT affiliated schools because it's the most powerful song in the history of college football. All right.
Sure. Okay.
So we've got 2 songs, right? We've got the Eyes of Texas, and then we do our Texas Fight song. We do all sorts of different game day traditions and whatnot. But Eyes of Texas is the song. Okay, this is the song that unites everybody at the end of a game, no matter what. You sing it before a game as well. Hell, when I was at the Texas X's event a couple of months ago before COVID hit, we all sang the Eyes of Texas at the end of a freaking networking event, Jose.
Why, you dorks?
I'm telling you, this is our like most prideful song. For me, being a student there and being a part of the university, I love the university. I love Texas, okay? I had a great time there. The school opened up all sorts of doors for me. It's for me being a first generation immigrant, it gave me something to be a part of that so many previous generations of Americans have had a chance to be a part of university, right? Like my family didn't have a tradition here. Right. So when my brother went to UT, that started a tradition for my family. That's where my sister went. That's where I went. That's where my younger sister wanted to go, but she couldn't get in. But it was still, she went to UTSA, so it's still part of the family. So to me, it was like, it didn't matter. It didn't matter that it was me, a first generation immigrant that has, and at this point in college, I was not an American citizen. Okay. It put me on an even playing surface as the 6th generation UT student or the kid that got in because his dad's a donor or whatever it is. Right. And we would all sing that song and it would all unite us. I had no idea, dude. I had no idea of the racist history of the song. I always knew it as I've been working on the railroad. That's what it's set to that tone. Yeah. The eyes of Texas are upon you all to live long. That one. So
damn.
Yeah. That's the eyes of Texas. And I didn't know. I'm like, okay, that's a nursery rhyme song, right? I've been working on the railroad song. Like I didn't know why I never looked it up because I had no one ever even brought it up to me that, hey, This song has a very racist history. Now, on campus, there were a lot of things where I would look at, and I remember like the student council then was trying to get rid of statues that are part of the six pack. There's this thing called the six pack. There's 6 main buildings right in front of the tower. And there's statues there, and you're like, yo, why is Robert E. Lee over here? Hold on. What the hell is happening here? Why
Loser ass Robert E. Lee.
Yeah. What is that? Why do we have some racist ass statues here? But no one ever, like somebody would raise their voice, people would get upset about it, and nothing was ever done. Okay. And to me, with the Eyes of Texas, when I was singing that, it united me with with everyone, with the current students, alumni, everybody, bandwagon fans. We all sang it together. So it united us. Nobody ever was like, you guys do know there's a very racist undertone or overtone to this song. No, nobody knew that. I like, again, my brother, I was with my brother Friday night, and even he's like, I still don't get why it's a racist song. And then I sent an article to him. It's like, oh, here's why. Look, Texas, there's a racist history to the university. Okay. Like, yes, you're not going to escape that. You can help heal those moments. You can stop naming buildings after horrible people, right? Who at the time were doing things that are really horrible, and they might have felt like, no, but that's just the way it is. Well, no, you don't have to honor them. I'm sorry. You don't have to. So if the Eyes of Texas, and the reason I'm bringing this up for those of you that don't know, football players have said that they're not going to help with recruiting programs. They're not going to help. They're not going to go to alumni functions if the university doesn't meet a list of demands, which is renaming a few buildings, donating to Black Lives Matter, and picking a new Eyes of Texas, getting rid of the current one. I don't think that's going to get done. I'm just going to be frank with you. I don't think that's going to get done. Okay. But
yeah, Texas athletics don't matter anyways.
Yeah. Okay. That's coming from, hold on. Easy UHD guy.
Hey, UHD don't have me marching to racist ass songs.
What are you guys, the Dolphins? Isn't that your mascot?
The Gators, bitch.
The Gators. Who's the Dolphins? Somebody's the Dolphins. But look, I don't think the Eyes of Texas, they're not going to redo that song. It seems like, look, I'm glad the players put that into the letter, because now I learned something about my university. I knew there's racist. Look, the whole thing is built on, it was built in a time where there was a lot of racism. So there's going to be a lot of racist roots at the university, but I didn't know about the song. Now I do. Do I still love the song? Yeah, because I have great memories with it.
That hoe don't slap.
Yeah. Now
that hoe does not slap.
Oh, you crazy. You want me to put it on? You want me to put it on? The opening drum roll, son? Come on.
That one does not slap at all.
So do I love that song?
Did it even get the sample clearance for I've been working on the railroad?
They bought it out. They bought it out because we're the most powerful university in the world. So yeah, they actually did. So easy.
I don't think that'll hold up in court.
Easy. They're going to get you if you talk like that. Chris Del Conte is going to find you, and he's going to eliminate you. But I was saying, the song, to me, look, I love the song. I have great memories with the song. It united me with my fellow Longhorns, all that. But I'm saying all this, and I want to say that I'm okay that if they're going to redo the song, that's fine with me. You know what? We'll sing another song together. We'll celebrate wins together with another song. But like, it's just you can't sweep it under the rug now that it's out. That look, the song has serious racist ties, man. Like, that's just what it is. And now that we're educated upon it, do we want to fix it? Yes, let's fix it. It sucks that we're losing the Eyes of Texas. We'll sing whatever song they write. Okay, we're gonna have to relearn it, but that's just what it is. So those are my thoughts.
Josh mentions shout out to the Gator, my boy Edugator. Josh, we're not gonna win the fight when UHD named its stupid ass Gator the Edugator.
Is it really the Edugator?
That's the name of the damn mascot. Yes.
Baby Trickster knows the Eyes of Texas. She learned the Eyes of Texas because we have a book that we got.
I thought you were raising her to be woke, not to be a bigot.
Well, now I'm going to tell her to eliminate the song. I'm going to eliminate the song from her. We're going to relearn the old song. I'm not even joking. My sophomore year at UT, I had the Eyes of Texas lyrics printed on my desk. So I would read it every morning. I'm telling you, dude, this song is so important to us.
You wouldn't do your prayers. You'd sing Eyes of Texas in the morning?
On God. Every morning I would recite the Eyes of Texas.
That's so lame.
Yeah. The Five Blood. Did you watch it? Spike Lee's
I
new
haven't.
joint?
I need to.
I
Did
started
you
it.
watch it?
It is super long.
It's 2.5 hours.
Dude, it is.
There's too many movies. Stop making movies.
What other movies are out? There's no other movies right now.
There's just too many movies.
What other
What's
movies
the Hannibal Buress skit on the Eric Andre show, where he says, "I wish Hollywood would take a year off so I could catch up on all these movies."
They are,
And
though.
that kind
They
of came
are.
to life this year.
Yeah, we actually there's a new Pete Davidson movie.
No one told Netflix.
That's it. I mean, there's not many movies coming out. So I'm about an hour left into the movie, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good. There's a there's a lot of lessons in there. Yeah, there's a lot
I'll
of
probably watch it tomorrow.
Watch it loud, of course, because there's good sound effects in it. The other Raheel says, way off topic, but do you believe the XFL will ever return? I thought everything about it was going great. People were getting into it, still waiting for the XFL football. You're not going to get that XFL football, buddy, because I think they literally took everything away from the XFL. You know, all my, Jose, I don't think I told you this. All of my stand-ups and hits that I did during the game, the social media manager was going to send them to me, and he can't send me those because they took all the computers away. So all my footage, like all my tape that I built up, all the games, I'm never going to get them. That's it. Unless bankruptcy court, like they offered to sell the Houston Roughnecks social media manager computer, and then I'll have to buy it. But I'm never going to get that footage. He's like, dude, I literally had it cut up. I was going to send it to you, and they walked in and they took everything because it was shut down. Like they literally shut the whole thing down out. So I'm never going to get that footage. So if anybody has footage of me doing hits, send it my way, please, because I need it.
Screw Vince McMahon.
Okay. We are done. Anything else that we missed that you wanted to get into? We went super long today, but it was a good show. I thought today.
You want to do a real quick click or no click?
Hell yeah. Give me a click or no click. Give me a click or no click. It's the game show that's sweeping the nation. Click or no click. Let's do 3 stories.
So, okay. Ooh, I got to pick these better than. All right. First click or no click. Eminem updates his greatest rappers of all time list. Click or no click.
I'm curious. I haven't seen this list. Give me a click. I want to know who Eminem's top 5.
Do you think Eminem has himself on his top 5?
No.
Or does he realize, you know what? I haven't made a good album in over 10 years. I'm not top 5.
I haven't dropped a good verse since Medicine Man, so no. Give me the list. Who's on Eminem's list?
So obviously this comes from originally on Till I Collapse from his best album, The Eminem Show, in my opinion. He mentions Redman, Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie, Andre from Outkast, Jada,
and
Jadakiss, Corrupt, Nas, and then me himself.
Yep.
And apparently he has updated the list.
Okay.
Which I don't even know why or
is there a new song that he put out?
But he responded to a tweet.
Okay.
He says
he's on Twitter. Hold on.
No, he responded to a tweet. Who's the greatest rapper of all time? Yeah. So I saw this story pop up earlier in the day, and I didn't click on it. I went straight to his Twitter, and I didn't see the tweets. So I was like, oh, what the hell is this coming from? And I totally forgot about it. So Eminem's tweet says, for me, in no particular order, a toss-up between Wayne, Pac, Royce the 5'9", is who he's referencing, Jay-Z, Redman, Tretch, J-Rap, Biggie, and King Crook. I think that's Crooked Eye, which if he means Crooked Eye, buddy, you need to relax. Plus Redman, LL Cool J, Nas, Joyner, Kendrick, Cole, Andre, Rakim, Kane. I guess Big Daddy Kane.
So he put everybody. He put literally everybody on the list now.
I guess so, yeah. I was hoping it didn't have J. Cole so we can make fun of Josh, but it does.
Yeah, and the other Raheel.
Oh, he could mean Keisha Cole.
Yeah, I think that's who he meant. Keisha Cole doesn't bite everybody else's stuff. That's why.
Oh, snap.
Okay, next story. That was kind of underwhelming because I thought it was going to be a definitive top 5, and not.
No, he dropped like 8 of them.
He's just like he should have just said, "Hey, everybody but Kanye and Drake didn't make the list." Okay, guys.
Oh, Drake's not on the list.
Yeah, there's no way he would be on the list.
Man shoots himself in the junk, blames a homeless person, and gets 6 years of jail time. Click or no click?
No click. No.
Really?
Click.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go no click. That just seems like it was an accident, and he was just trying to hide it. That he was trying to stick a gun up his
Trying to
butt.
hide his shame.
He was trying
Oh,
to. He was trying to. You know, they were doing something weird, and a gun went off, and they're just trying to blame a homeless person. So I'm gonna go ahead and say no click on that one.
6 eBay employees orchestrate an extensive harassment campaign for a middle-aged couple.
Give me the click. I need to know about this.
So typically when we put this segment together, we come up with stories together, and this one I actually found, and I made sure to not even look at it. The headline is really long. It's on the Independent. Shout out to our brothers of the pond. So the headline reads: Bloody pig masked roaches, funeral wrath. 6 eBay employees orchestrated an extensive harassment campaign against a middle-aged couple. So 6 former employees, obviously now, are facing federal crime charges for allegedly harassing a middle-aged couple who ran an e-commerce newsletter. The charges were announced on Monday during a press conference in Boston, Massachusetts. So this happened on this side of the pond.
But
According to the
side,
charges on the document, the defendants allegedly sent the couple bizarre deliveries, including live cockroaches, a bloody pig mask, and a funeral wreath. Wrath? What is a funeral wreath? Do you know what a funeral wreath is?
A wreath. I think
wreath. Excuse me.
Man, so they did this. Why?
They were also accused of sending the couple threatening messages. That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm looking through this. eBay's former senior director of safety security has been wait, hold on. This is an actual like official person, a big shot. For eBay's former senior director of safety and security has been arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit cyber stalking and conspiracy to tamper with witnesses.
What?
It doesn't give, as far as I can see, there's no real explanation to why.
Were they pranking them, or was this just something bad? Because if they were an e-commerce site, a review site, they must have been doing something to mess with the algorithm or somehow, ruin.
So the alleged victims are named in charging documents only as victim 1 or victim 2. Both live in Massachusetts during the alleged harassment. Victim 1 is identified as a reporter and editor of an online newsletter who covered e-commerce companies, including eBay. Victim 2 is his spouse and was the newsletter's publisher. So yeah, they probably were talking some mess about eBay.
Yeah.
Members of the executive leadership team followed team at eBay followed the newsletter's post, often taking issue with the content and the anonymous comments underneath the editor's stories.
Oh, gotcha.
Wow, that is petty and super eerie.
Super petty. But you know what? I like petty. I'm not gonna lie. I like the level of pettiness there, and I like the commitment to the gag, because they went all out to this.
So apparently that's an order of like funeral flowers. I didn't know what a funeral wreath was.
Yeah.
That is scary as hell. I do not want to get that in the mail.
Yeah, imagine somebody showing up and you're like, what the hell is this? Who just died? Not me. I'm alive. Who died? Okay, that was a good click or no click. We are out of time. Thank you, everyone, for sticking with us, listening as long as you did. We appreciate all the comments and interaction during the show. By the way, if you are listening to this on the audio side, the Monday night chat is our most interactive episode, because that's the one I do with Jose. We have time to actually do it like a radio show. So if you ever want to join us live, we do it 8:30 p.m. on Monday. Unfortunately, on the 22nd, we're not going to do it live on Monday. We might do it Tuesday. We're going to reschedule because we still have to have.
Because we'll be driving to Atlanta, baby, for our 10-hour podcast spectacular.
Oh, that'd be so much fun. I could do it Monday night, but I don't know if you want me awake, because I'd be awake from 5 a.m. I just drove almost 12 hours, and then to do a podcast and not spend time with my sister, who I haven't seen in 6 months. I think I'm gonna just do it maybe Tuesday night with you if we can, or Wednesday night if we do it. But yeah, so other than that, every Monday night we do this live. So do join us. It's fun. We get your comments in here, as you've heard in this episode. Don't forget to go to Alamo Remedy, AlamoRemedy.com. Get all your CBD products on their gummies, lotion, the tincture that you put a drop under your tongue. Boom, you get that CBD perfection. If you aren't into CBD, this is the perfect way to get into it, because all the products are $17.99. Affordable. Anybody can try out CBD, and if you are into it and you like high quality CBD, Alamo Remedy is your company to try out. And they also make capsules, so if you're worried about like how much dosage do I need, try it out. Like I started with 20 milligrams, and I like that. 20 milligrams works for me. I've tried 30. I always go back to 20. So it's perfect. AlamoRemedy.com. Try it out. It's easy. It's affordable now. $17.99. Plus, you're going to save 10% off with promo code UNICORN. Jose, we are done. Thank you so much, brother. I will talk to you next week.
Stay spicy.